Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 1 year since Justice League arrived in cinemas. That is one fast year. I cannot believe it has been 1 year already. I saw it Thursday, November 16th of 2017. I went to the 7 p.m. feature and I was excited because, I was a big fan of the Justice League cartoon when it came out on Cartoon Network, and that also came out on November 17th, as a matter of fact. And it was the first time we're going to have a Justice League film in live action, a major motion picture, and I was totally pumped up to see the film. I was a fan of Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Say what you will about the film and Justice League, I was a big fan of Batman v Superman, and I'm one of its heaviest supporters. To say the least, Justice League was a bit of a disappointment and kind of a baffling mess. It wasn't the same as the previous DCEU films. Sure, those films did have their flaws, but Justice League was on a totally different level. And I was excited to see that film. I had the popcorn bucket, the drink, I got the top seat, and upon seeing the film, I had technical difficulties at my theater. The projector went out. So what happened? Had to go to a totally different auditorium, and I got a crummy seat. So that started my experience onto Justice League. And that should have been a sign of things to come, You have these expectations, it's going to go a certain way, and ultimately, there's going to be some compromise. And that is what happened to Justice League. There is a compromise of a director's vision, of Zack Snyder. He directed this film. Upon personal tragedy, he had to leave the project, and Joss Whedon was hired to basically finish the film, or should I say reshoot half of it. Zack Snyder's vision was compromised. All for what? A different direction because of how audiences react to the previous films? To get bonus checks for an AT&T merger? Or to simply play catch up with Marvel and get some dough. And it's sad because I think what ultimately happened with Justice League is what's wrong with Hollywood. It's not just DC Marvel, it's the fact that Hollywood is franchising. Of course, it's always been about a business of money, but now they're pitting money and their own interests over quality of a story and what audiences want. And that is when you reach a dangerous line, my friends, because you start making stuff for the money and nothing else. And because of that, stuff's going to be degraded in quality, and it's just going to come out really bad. It's not going to have the same amount of love that went into, say, making Man of Steel, the Dark Knight trilogy, Iron Man from 2008. You start having studios rushing a product and basically not delivering a quality product. It's just out so they can make a quick buck. And that is just sad, my friends. It's just sad seeing that happen. And it's sad seeing a film reshot, reshaped, and thrown out. Something that's completely different than what it was intended to be and what was shown in the trailers. Now I know there's going to be some people saying, you Snyder fans, he's a hack. There's no such thing as a Snyder cut. Then what is all that footage in the trailers? Huh? If you can have other films have extended versions, why not Justice League? If you can have Orson Welles not finish a film with John Huston and have it released more than 30, 40 years later after he passed and be completed, why can't you have Justice League when Zack Snyder finished principal photography? Sure, there's budget, there's money that has to be put into those visual effects, but there's somewhat of an assembly cut. I mean, hell, David Fincher had an assembly cut for Alien 3. This reminds me of what happened to Richard Donner in Superman 2. He was fired, they hired Richard Lester, and we saw the theatrical cut of Superman 2. It wasn't until years later, after the release of Superman Returns, that we saw Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. And it was amazing. Was it 100% what was intended to be? No. But it was pretty darn close, and I say it's a superior version. That's how I feel with Justice League. Now, I'm not saying Zack Snyder is like the almighty savior that he would save the DCEU. No, you're still going to have Warner Brothers going in there with their scissors and just chopping up a film. And it's sad because you have these brilliant filmmakers. Why hire them if you're going to compromise a vision? If you're going to just take a giant dump on it? Why? David Ayer had an extended cut of Suicide Squad, and we saw how that film came out. They wanted to make it like that Bohemian Rhapsody trailer. And it's just sad with Justice League because I just wasn't happy with it. Now, when I went to go see it, it actually got a standing ovation, actually. I'm not lying. It got a standing ovation at the theater I went to. And I didn't get up. I felt kind of empty inside. I didn't hate the film. It's actually an enjoyable, entertaining film. It kind of brings back moments of the cartoons. I have many reviews going over it. It has its issues. It has its upsides, downsides. But something was missing. I knew that wasn't the intended product. I know that's not what Zack Snyder went out to make. It felt like it was tampered with. It still has Zack Snyder's name as director, but it's not a Zack Snyder film. And I've been a fan of his since 300, Dawn of the Dead, and Watchmen. As a matter of fact, Watchmen is my favorite film of his. Say what you will, it's a pretty damn good film. And I like what he did with Man of Steel and BVS. He even wrote the story to Wonder Woman, even though Patty Jenkins directed it, so he's a good storyteller visually. Sure, there's other things that have to click together for like an epic grand film, but for my standards, I liked it. I really was a fan of Zack Snyder's work. I like how dark and realistic and grounded he made the characters. He had a different type of tale. With an alien first contact story to Man of Steel, how would the world react to a Superman in BVS with the ideology of Batman? But somewhere along the line, Snyder and kind of like Warner Brothers wanted to have the Justice League come out. And I was actually okay with all of them coming out and then going to their solo movies. You don't have to do it just like Marvel. But then you have Justice League with the jokes, Josh Whedon repeating stuff from Age of Ultron, and you just wonder why. Like, what the hell was the point of getting Zack Snyder if this was going to happen? Too many cooks in the kitchen. No wonder they're trying to reorganize, but they're sabotaging the film. They alienated hardcore fans like me and other people out there, hardcore DC readers and fans of Zack Snyder's work. You alienated it. Now, I'm not saying it's the best superhero movie ever. I know in the comments they're like, hey, let the Snyder Cut come out and people can know he's a hack filmmaker and it's not going to be as good as a theatrical. Maybe not. Maybe it will be. I just want a complete vision. What I'm talking about is I want the story to be completed the way it was intended to be completed. I want a Zack Snyder cut to be released because I want to see the end of the story he was telling. There's a lot of things they ignored. From BVS on to Justice League. Even Steppenwolf's design. Sure, it's a bit more like the comics, but that other Steppenwolf would have been a hell of a lot scarier and more menacing. And I think it would have been better with the hint of Darkseid. Now, of course, a lot of things change over time. Originally, Justice League was supposed to be 2 films, split part 1, part 2. And as you may know, that did not happen. Things change, and for better or worse, it is what it is. But it bothers me that some of those changes are apparent in the movie itself. Look at The Flash when he's talking to Bruce Wayne. Ben Affleck, it's apparent. He gains weight. He's freaking Fat Man in that Batman outfit. I'm not lying. Certain scenes here you're going to see where it's a different cinematographer and a different time shot. The Flash is just so jarring. I don't know if it's because I'm a filmmaker so I can pick up that stuff as an editor filmmaker, or if the average audience can pick it out. Let me know out there. Did you pick out some of that stuff when you first saw it, or just know subconsciously like something's wrong here? Here in this footage, it's totally completely different footage. And then here are the green screen. Compared to some of the trailer shots, here are a series of comparisons from what was in the Zack Snyder cut or originally shot and cut out of the movie. You can see there's a grave difference here. Like, it's not even funny. Like, damn. What happened?
I didn't bring a sword. My turn.
They even had that awesome shot of Batman, and instead you get this out-of-focus, fuzzy shot from Josh Whedon. Certain lines omitted about Robin and working well with others again. And let's not forget the obligatory ass shots of Wonder Woman featured in the film. And the jokes. Oh my god, the jokes in this film are just like, what the hell? It's like, what was Warner Brothers thinking? Now, on Vero, Zack Snyder has an account, and you can see there's many other behind-the-scenes photos he showed. It was a different tone, different vibe. It was darker. It was supposed to be more fun and adventurous, but not to the point of being that much drastically different compared to its predecessors. You can see there was more care put into the scene where they grave rob Superman's grave. The whole Justice League was there when they got Superman's grave. A bit wrong. It should have been more like Return of Superman. But speaking of that, there's some deleted scenes of the black suit. They were going to go with that and they decided not to, but there is other footage where Henry Cavill actually shot as Superman. He didn't have a CGI face. He had to come back during Mission Impossible Fallout to finish like half the film. He thought it was going to be some reshoots, and half of it was pretty much reshot. And he's been vocal about that. It's probably part of the reason why he's not Superman anymore, or at least rumored to be. And that's stupid from Warner Brothers. You have your biggest hero there and you're not going to use him? Like, what the hell? Warner Brothers, I don't know if you're trying to deliberately screw up the DCU or just your superhero films in general, or it's just a giant cluster that you don't know what to do with. It seriously feels like you're making stuff up as you go along, and it does feel that way. And it's just heartbreaking that this man's vision and what he was going for, whether you liked it or not, whether you're a fan or not, you gotta admit, at least it was a vision of something, It was compromised. Iris West was supposed to be in the film, Flash's girlfriend. Much more different footage there. Flashbacks to Darkseid. It was going to connect to that future nightmare vision from BVS. So much stuff was supposed to be more intertwined and connected, and I loved it because all the DCEU films were all connected, even to the photograph of Wonder Woman in BVS. And then this film kind of ignores events and have people act a different way. Sure, he acts more like Christopher Reeve's Superman. He smiles and stuff, but that does not exactly equal personality. Superman smiled in the other ones and had more of a personality than he did in this scene. I know some people may disagree. You like your 20th century Superman, but it just felt off with this. Now, he was always meant to become the Superman we all know and love at the end of this. I know that, but the transition from the other films to this film is really quite jarring, like the editing of the film itself. And originally it's supposed to be 2.5 hours long. It's under 2 hours. And ultimately, it's studio interference and franchising. They wanted to play catch up with Marvel, and I don't like that word, catch up with Marvel, because I think they were trying to do their own thing initially. But as always, other studios, when they see a movie make a lot of money, every other studio and every other movie has to be like that movie that made a lot of money. You can even see that this year with the success of Black Panther and other films trying to be like it, you know? But it's just crazy seeing that in Hollywood, and ultimately that's what led to the downfall. They did the same thing in the 90s. Tim Burton getting fired because parents complained how dark it was. It's lighter, and they make stuff for toys and money. And that's what led to Batman and Robin. I'm seeing history repeat itself, and I knew it was going to happen after Dark Knight Rises ended. I knew Warner Brothers in no way was going to learn from their past mistakes, and they're making the same mistakes all over again. Now, what does Shazam and Aquaman bring for the future? I don't know. But it's a very different year, you know? A lot happened in a year. Behind the scenes, in front of the camera. And I hope one day I'm blessed enough to see a Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. But I don't know if we're going to get it. I don't think we are. You know, the studio doesn't want to admit they're wrong, you know. They don't want to apologize for their mistakes. And that's just a damn shame. So, you can hear my thoughts on Justice League. I enjoyed the film for what it is, but there's a part of me that has a hole in my heart. Because I know the film it could have been. And you honestly tell me this is what you expected out of a Justice League film? That stuff should have been more epic. Now, perhaps without Green Lantern or Martian Manhunter, that should have been a sign that stuff wasn't going to be, say, up to the cartoon or other animated films, but it should have been better than this from what was going on BVS. And just some of the changes, I was like, why? There's a lot of problems that were made due to reshoots. You had your principal photography done. Just make that damn film. The CGI face even, why was that there? Henry Cavill shot all of his Superman stuff. The scene with Martha and Lois Lane, it was played for jokes. Oh, you're the most thirstiest reporter. It was more somber. It was much more tragic and Zack Snyder stuff seen here. You got to see more of Victor Stone as Cyborg. He was going to be the heart of the film. He was going to have more in line with the Mother Box, like in the comics. Steppenwolf was going to have a lot more depth, trying to backstab and get free from Darkseid. And even Darkseid was supposed to be teased. And I ultimately think they should have just had Darkseid. I know people are going to complain, that's the first movie, you don't have a main villain. No, go ahead and have freaking Darkseid, man. And if we're going to get one movie, they should have just went for it, man. Just blow your load in one movie. And they blew it, just not in the right way. Justice League is what it is, and again, here are some more changes you could see from the trailer onto the final film. It's supposed to be darker. Wonder Woman was there when there's supposed to be Cyborg and Aquaman. It's just drastic. And wherever Ben Affleck has a widow's peak and is skinny, that's what Zack Snyder shot. Matter of fact, he actually did shoot some jokes. One was the lasso scene, right here. He shot that scene. That was not a Joss Whedon scene. That was a freaking Zack Snyder scene right there. That's one of the funniest, naturally funniest moments of the movie. That doesn't feel like it's forced humor. Not like Marvel humor or just stupid humor. That Whedon-esque humor. It's not like that. And it's just a shame. I'm glad that man's not doing Batgirl. I'm glad they're going to get somebody else. They're doing an R-rated Birds of Prey. I just hope from moving on forward they stay true to the characters and stop messing with the director's vision. Zack Snyder should go to another studio that treats him right. He really should. He should go to another studio because this happened on Watchmen, Sucker Punch, even Batman vs. Superman. They had the audacity to release an extended cut, and they didn't do that here. More work had to be put into it. They said it was unwatchable. Let the audience decide for themselves. Was it really worth over 10% gain in Rotten Tomatoes? I'm still baffled that the critic score for BVS is lower than Justice League. There's some people, including my own relatives, that think Justice League is better than BVS. Perhaps maybe so, but I just think BVS has more substance rather than style. And it's just sad seeing the changes. Victor Stone, his cybernetic design even looks different. It's thinner, more lean, and when he's Whedon, it looks like freaking aluminum foil. Like, it's just bad. I don't need to go fully into detail here. There's many other great videos on YouTube that go into detail exactly what was in the Zack Snyder cut, the trailer footage, and what was in the theatrical. Many better videos, but I just wanted to talk about this in like a vlog type of way and really just address the problem with franchising and studio interference in Hollywood right now. It affected Justice League, but it's going to kill the superhero genre, and it's going to maybe kill the film industry if they keep going this way. I'm serious. I might be over-exaggerating, but like, since when did the studio making money trump directors and their vision, but more so trumped quality and storytelling? You always had a money business. You always had the directors doing what the studio wanted, but there's a certain amount of quality and storytelling put into the work that you do not see anymore. And that's just a shame. Hopefully one day we can see a Zack Snyder cut, but there's plenty of moments I enjoy from Justice League. You know, the chase. And Danny Elfman's music, I like the Batman theme, but it should have been more loud, more bombastic, like I said in my last year video. Junkie XL, I want to hear that damn score. Especially since it was infused with the Come Together by Gary Clark Jr. You had Icky Thump by Jack White play. So much music. I felt like it should have been more epic. Deathstroke and Lex, that was pretty cool, the whole Legion of Doom thing. And Zack Snyder possibly exploring it in Justice Gods Among Us film. And you had the famous Flash Superman race. I wasn't a big fan of the suit, how reflective and metal it looked. It just looked kind of fake. And sure, it might have not been the most perfect film, but I definitely think I would have personally enjoyed it. I know many other people would have probably enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League more than Joss Whedon's, or Justice League, so to speak, Warner Brothers' cut of Justice League. We were even supposed to have a version of the Atom in the film. So much stuff. And it just kind of makes me wonder what the possibilities could have been, you know? You always wonder what if. But it is what it is, and it has its moments. We're going to see Aquaman this December rectify certain things with Mara and Arthur Curry there. I could go on and on with this, but I just wanted to briefly reflect upon it on its 1-year anniversary and just kind of reflect on the status of the DCEU and just the film industry right now. So down in the comments below, let me know what you think about Justice League or Justice League. Do you want to see a Zack Snyder cut? What do you think about the other films? Some people weren't a fan of any DC film, so that's why I just wish they went and just stuck to their guns, because some people were just going to take a crap on it regardless, that weren't fans or didn't like Zack Snyder's work. And I think, for better or worse, they should have stuck to their guns and made something, because at least I would have respected it for that. They didn't try to sell out or cater to a certain audience and still backfire on them, you know? So just let me know what you think. Want to see a Zack Snyder cut? Here's some more videos you can enjoy on my channels. And yeah, let me know some of your favorite Justice League moments from the theatrical cut. Yeah. Batman. I'm rich. But I like the Pet Cemetery part. That part was actually kind of funny. And I also like Superman's arrival with the Christopher Reeve, John Williams music. That was great. I like that part. And the lasso scene where Wonder Woman's like, that was beautiful. I just love that moment. And whole Lord of the Rings type of flashback with the Green Lantern show, and that was really cool. It had its moments, but here's hoping there'll be a sequel someday or the release of a Zack Snyder cut. Enjoy these videos, and yeah, happy 1-year anniversary to Justice League. Holy cow. Anyway, that's that. I'm going to go watch this, see how I feel about it. I had to watch this and Last Jedi last year back to back, and that wasn't so good. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Watch these, and feel free to share the video. Till next time.